All right, everyone, welcome back to Automotive Anatomy to another Wash and Talk. So it's been a while. The weather here in Cali has been a little crazy. So at the time of this recording, it drizzle, and it was gonna rain the next day, not the following day. So yeah, haven't washed the cars in a bit. So I think it was time to do another Wash and Talk since I did have this video from I think now 2 weeks going on now. So. Yeah, what's going on? First watch and talk with the Recap Masters on Rosie. I really like the beefy setup on it. So yeah, it's good. Hope everyone's doing well at the time of this. Whenever you're listening to this, I know there's always challenging things, but there's always good things going on. There's always positive stuff going on. So I really hope that good things are going in your life. As for me, life is great. Life is great. Cannot complain. I think I'm just continuing to see things in a way that I'm like, okay, how can I position myself to be in better situation in the next 5-10 years? You guys know that I'm always thinking that way. I'm always thinking of what's next, enjoying the moment, but also thinking, okay, what's my next 5 moves? What are my next 10 moves? And as some of you guys know, I shared in another previous Watch and Talk that I'm listening to audiobooks, the goal's 50 audiobooks by the end of the year. I finished 9 of them. Right now I'm on Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. So that's where I'm at right now. So just kind of learning about, I know his main thing is, post on social media and, create content, create value for people. And that's kind of the goal for me this year. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the interviews this month, we're already in mid-February, but this year, the interviews themselves have been mostly cars that are not Honda, so non-Honda. And the reason why I did that is because I know a lot of you guys have always said, hey, show some love to Genesis, to Jettas, to just all kinds of builds. And the reality is that I definitely do want to do that. I know that they're not going to get as many views. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with going down in views for a little bit because that's how it goes, right? This is mainly a Honda channel. It's only understandable that people want to tune into Honda related content. And I'm not hating nor I'm not upset if you don't want to join the interview for a 350Z or things like that. It's not your jam. But if you do, I definitely appreciate it. No different than the Watch and Talks we've talked about in the past. I've had some people who comment, they're like, oh, I only like your Watch and Talks. I don't like the walkthroughs and I don't like your interviews. And I'm like, cool, great. Welcome. I think that's something that I'm learning. I've been listening to so many different audiobooks and how to provide value to people and understanding that not everything's going to be to your liking. I think it's very rare that somebody appreciates like 90% of the things that you do. And you see that like with celebrities, let's say, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl and I'm a Chiefs fan, but a long time ago, I had this idea that the team won. Like I didn't win anything. My life's still the same. So I'm not too, like, oh yeah, we won and I'm somehow part of it. Like, yeah, it's cool. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to make my life better. So unless I put money into the stock for the team or, I'm a part owner or I'm a player, then I don't think it really applies to me. I think it's just one of those things where like, oh, okay, cool. So my job is to continue to improve my life, right? To continue to push forward with the things that I like to do, such as these videos. I'm extremely well aware that it's such an odd thing to do, which is wash your car, record it, and then do a voiceover. I understand. I'm okay with that. Could I get more views doing some other stuff? Yes, I'm okay though. This is more like an audiobook for me, more of a diary. I would like to think that when I'm 43 and these videos are still up, I go back and I think, man, what was it that I was talking back then? Have I accomplished some of the stuff that I wanted here? And I'm a big believer of saying it out loud, writing it, putting those things out there in the universe, because then when they do come true, you're like, damn, I didn't just, flip the switch one day from another. Um, when I was in high school, I couldn't, one, I didn't know that you had to pay for your senior photo. Um, I didn't know that you had to go take it somewhere else. And then when I did find out, they're like, "Oh yeah, you had to pay." And I was like, "Okay, so that's that. I'm not gonna take a senior photo." And yeah, my mom didn't have money for that. I'm sure she would have been like here, because she would, she would have been like, "Oh, it's important," but I didn't have a suit. Yeah, it's just so many different things. I wouldn't have had I don't understand how they don't take the pictures on site at the school. You had to go somewhere else. So, um, long story short, I didn't even know when you were supposed to take pictures. I was just like, I just want to graduate. So my English teacher, my English teacher my freshman year, he's still in charge of the yearbook. And I remember having a conversation with him, and he was like, "Oh, okay, so like, how did it go in your senior picture?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't take it. Um, I don't know where, when, and we don't have the money for that." So he was like, "Oh, okay. How about this? How about we save you a little spot on like half a page, to share your story?" And I say, "Well, what's so special about my story?" He's like, you've done X, Y, and Z." And okay, so like, we'll set up an appointment for one of our yearbook people that take pictures to take some pictures of you, or maybe you can take some pictures and you can bring them, and we'll include them. No problem. Long story short, he told me like, "Hey, write a story," and I wrote. I just wrote, and I wrote how I went through school. I wrote about my goals and dreams, and I remember writing on that whole entire story. Um, I will not be taking a year off from college because people don't go back to college, but I will be going to community college. And even though people may see it as a downgrade, that is community college, I'm gonna go and finish my degree, and uh, you know everything that I put turned into reality. Uh, 6 years later, I was done with the undergrad, and 2 more years, I was done with my master's. So it's so cool to look back at that now, because I'm like, damn, like you put it on writing and then you follow through. Sometimes you don't know how it's gonna happen exactly. You may even think, there was times that I wanted to quit. There was times I was like, why am I going to school, man? It's just taking my money. I'm not even getting more money back. Um, so there's definitely times that you're gonna want to quit, but at the end of the day, it's like develop a plan and follow it. And so that's mostly of the things that I've been listening to as of lately, especially with the audiobooks that I've been trying to intake, and just different lessons. I mean, we know that we can talk and manifest and write it down and put it out to the universe, but nothing's gonna happen unless you take action. So eventually, I will have to take actions to buy a property, whether it's rental properties or is it my primary home. Eventually, I'm gonna have to take you know action to continue to grow the clothing brand. I'm kind of thinking of a new design again for shirts, and now the summer's coming up, so it takes action. It takes action, and at the end of the day, um, I would be lying to you guys. I would lie to you guys if I was to say that sales with merch is wonderful and it's perfect and that everybody buys and we sell out. No, I mean, I have a little bit of merch left over, but I don't order as much because I know, and I'm okay with that. I mean, you guys, nobody owes me anything. Nobody, I'm not entitled to anything. So I definitely do appreciate the people that do purchase a shirt, a beanie, a hat. It's it's crazy, It's crazy to see you guys wearing the apparel at meet, or just knowing that there's somebody in the East Coast or across the pond that has a shirt or something. So we'll continue working towards our goals. We'll continue writing down what we want. But that's kind of where I'm at to right now. On the 9 books, I'm already in the 10th one. I think I'm on a pretty good number of books per week. Could I do better? Of course. Sometimes I do get sidetracked. Like for instance, last night. So today is Wednesday. Last night on Tuesday afternoon, I was like, I had finished editing the interview for this past Wednesday. So the 370Z one, and I was like, let me see if I can find something on, YouTube that is like documentary thing. So I came across this pretty cool documentary about minimum wage, and they follow like five different families. And this documentary series was done back in 2013. So some of the numbers that they provide, they're it's cool and all, because now you get to see like how we thought it was expensive back then. Now it's so much worse. But anyways, they follow like five different families that make minimum wage, and so they show their struggles and how they're trying to survive. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy how I'm so blessed that I'm not in that situation. Now, granted, I don't have a fancy car. None of these none of these families that they follow had fancy cars. They were legit living on minimum wage, and in some other parts of the country like Chicago and Washington and Silicon Valley. But the point to that is that they were discussing how some families make over $100,000 and they still live paycheck to paycheck, right? So hence why I'm reading audio. I'm listening to audiobooks. I don't want to be in that situation. I want to continue growing. So yeah, I just thought it was an interesting thing. Great documentary, very budget done in a budget, because the audio and everything is not the best, but it's free and it's on YouTube. And I'm like, damn, this is cool. And you get to learn what different people are up to. For instance, one of the stories is a 50-year-old lady who's a server, and she at one point she worked at construction with the union, and she was making about $7,000 a month, and that's a lot of money. And then she lived like it. She lived and spent the way she's like, oh, money's coming in, no problem. And then fast forward a couple years later, she's now in financial challenges because she's no longer making that type of money, right? It happens. Lifestyle creeps up on you. And so for me, I think I'm just trying to do the best I can to not have the lifestyle creep on me, because it's so easy to just say, you know what, I deserve it. And I deserve it can get you into a lot of issues, because the reality is that, yeah, you do deserve something, but I think you deserve peace more than anything. So again, my personal take on that, as I continue to have conversations with different people and get inspired by different people, I know that like that's the goal for me, at least, to have peace in my life and fulfillment. And it might sound weird, but washing my car is just peaceful. Do I wish I don't want to be watching it here where all my neighbors are always looking at me, or I have to move the camera because there's a car coming. And yeah, but maybe we're not there yet. And so the goal for me is that in the near future, I'm going to be able to have my own space where I can wash it at night. As you guys know, the plan is to one day wash my car when it's raining. I don't know why, just I want to do that one day, and it will happen. But it's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to happen tomorrow, and I'm okay with that. But I think having that mindset of that goal driven, it's important, right? So that documentary had a big impact on me. I ended up going to sleep really late, because there's like 4 parts to it, and I'm just really intrigued, by the way other people kind of handle their finances, how they live, the struggles that they overcome, and how they are willing to work to get out of those, struggling situations. I think, to me, that's what's fun about life. Figure out what's challenging and how you can overcome it. And that's the reason why, like I shared in the past, like now that I'm done with school and I have my career. Now what comes next? Like what's that thing that's challenging me? What's that thing that's keeping me learning? And I'm like, well, let's start YouTube. And so here we are, 4 years into this. I like to believe we have a strong community. The numbers may not reflect it, 40 some thousand subscribers, but on for the most part, maybe like 1,500 people watch the videos. But I'm okay with that. I think I'm losing perspective on what 1,500 people really means. That's a lot of people, I can't imagine having 500 people in the same location just for the channel. So um it definitely is something that I think sometimes I take for granted, the number of people that show support. So um quickly have to remind myself, hey, 1,500 people, it's a lot of people, and don't downplay it. Don't take it for granted, for sure. And yeah, I mean, there's other cool stuff going in my life. Excuse me. With all due time, I'll share and see what we got going on. And I think those that those that have known me in person, or that have been following this journey for quite a bit now, you guys understand that I'm very simplistic. I don't really like to um, brag or really show everything that I'm up to. Sometimes I sit on parts. I buy a part and I don't install it till like 8 months later. And I know some of you guys told me that that's not a good thing, because in case it's damaged or it's the wrong part, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by not opening up earlier. And I 1,000% agree, but I still do it. Um, and right now, I'm sitting on some maintenance stuff that I need to do to all three cars. And the 830 is still there, hasn't sold. I think they've offered a couple people have offered some numbers that I'm like, nah, I don't need to sell it. The car's working fine. So at the moment, that's not going away. I have thoughts of selling the sedan, but then I'm like, what else am I gonna get? I don't want a car payment right now. Um, so obviously a lot of different contradicting thoughts going, but overall pretty good. I mean, I think I'm in the best place that I've been in a long time. Just personally, mentally, I wouldn't say physically, but getting there. I mean, I'm working out now. Haven't shared that with you guys for a little bit. Um, it's not like super crazy weights or anything, but I'm making it a a habit of working out and stretching and feeling better, and the energy's there. Cutting back on coffee as much as I can as well, because I know that that's not the most healthy thing to consume. So overall, life is great, but I still want that challenge. So now my next challenge is, how can we continue growing the YouTube channel? How can we continue growing the we have a TikTok account that I've been uploading little short clips. Um, Also on YouTube, Automotive Anatomy clips. So I'm trying to grow that, just pure shorts. I'm trying out to have to figure out what the next design for shirts are gonna be, and then uh, save more money so we can put a nice down payment on a property, whether it's for us, whether it's for rentals. I don't know. I'm listening to a lot of Bigger Pockets podcasts, and so just super getting motivated by the stories from different people. And I get it. Right now, the interest rate's at 6 point something. I think it's 7%. It's not, financially the best time to buy. Uh, Nor am I rushing, but eventually I will, and we're gonna make it happen. Um, I know that that's definitely in the plans. I know that. And whenever my wife can't find parking, she reminds me that she's like, I'm ready to move. And I'm like, well, it wasn't an issue when I was having to look for parking, but now that you have to, now you're on board for moving. She's like, nah, I've been always wanting to move, but now that I see the unnecessary, burden to have to go look for parking and then walk, and it does get to everybody. So hopefully, I think we're now both on the same uh mindset of like, hey, there was this condos close to where I live, and one bedroom, one bath. If you're from the East Coast, yes, this is gonna sound like a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, it is, but you gotta remember we're dealing with California prices. So it was a one bedroom, one bath, and it was $305,000. I want to say like 2 years ago. Yeah, man, time flies. So it was like 2 years ago. And it's super close to where we live right now, and I'm like, hey, this is a good property. It's a good price. Here where we live, to see a three in front of anything is, it's difficult. And at the same time, both of us were like, I don't know, maybe I'll calm down. So then obviously the whole 2021 thing, happened. It went up. So now one bedroom, the same not the same one, but the idea of the same one bedroom, one restroom apartment. Now they want to sell it for 420. So clearly that's a huge jump. Yes, if you're in other states, 320 is a lot. You can buy a big property with a lot of space and things like that. That's fine. I don't really want that much space as much as location. And to me, where I live, I absolutely love it. Something about it. I don't see myself living in other areas. Um, at least not right now. But that doesn't mean that maybe one day I just say, hey, I want to move to Seattle, maybe. But I can't do that much rain, so I don't think so. Maybe to visit. But that's the idea. The idea that was like now we're, that as they say, hindsight's 2020. Now we're looking back like, damn, we should have purchased. We should have, could have, would have doesn't exist. So it's okay. There's always a reason why things happen, and you don't know until, now you have to go and do it. So that's the next plan. That's the next plan, to continue to save. Trust me, I would love my Porsche. I would love to be washing my Porsche right here. It just doesn't make sense. It's not, I couldn't justify parking a Porsche on the street. Some of my neighbors have nice cars, brand new cars, and that's okay if they want to park there. It's not something that I want for my future, and that's okay. We all have different mindsets. So we'll continue to be slow and steady. But for me at the moment, I think the biggest thing that I want to continue to work on is continue to grow the brand. I think it's super cool that we continue as a community of car enthusiasts to continue to grow a YouTube channel from Southern California. It always trips me out that people like, let's say like Rob from Canada, who's always listening, always showing support. You guys watch my videos and you guys know Armando, right? There's some of you guys are always like, hey, what happened to Armando? Or hey, Mata, hey. It trips me out, man, because that's the whole idea. The idea is that you guys are part of our community, but to have somebody from a different country or from the East Coast, or man, even other parts of California, it doesn't even have to be other countries, for you guys to just tune in. For some of you guys, repetitive to see the same cars at the Cars and Coffee. What you guys are forgetting is that for one, I like to show anybody and everybody who comes out to these meets a little bit of time on the GoPro. Why? Because they made the time to come out. Two, yes, there may be some similar cars that we've already seen, but let's be honest, sometimes they switch up minor things. And as an owner, if I switch wheels on my car, like I would want somebody to take a picture of it and be like, oh shoot, because that's their memories. That's in that moment you had done those changes. And for me, like, that's part of it. It's part of the community. I wouldn't want to go to a Cars and Coffee and say, well, I'm not going to show the CLK boys because we see their cars all the time. No, like, they made the time to go. Let's show them, and maybe they put something new. Maybe not. Maybe the car is 100% the same. But I know that all of us are going to look back at one point and be like, damn, 5-10 years ago, that was the car that I drove. So I don't know. That's just the way I like to do things. I like to show everybody love. I get excited when I see my car on YouTube. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Somebody snap a picture or a video, even if it's for 2 seconds. I'm like, no, that's nice. I know the way the car looks, but it's always nice to see other people take the time to appreciate the fact that I was there. So to me, that's kind of the idea right now, that I wanna continue growing the channel this year, and slow and steady. Not necessarily because I'm trying to make this my career. I don't want to make this my career at all. It's lonely at times because you're like, damn, like, have to set up an appointment, and if the person cancels, then that's it. Like, you can't create a video, and even if you create the video, then now you have to go and edit it, and it's like, it's just time consuming, and I'm not trying to make this into my job, because otherwise I don't think I would enjoy it as much. It would be more of like a business transaction, and definitely not interested in that. So, but I think at the same time, I do want to continue to collaborate with other people. My buddy Miguel, he has a YouTube channel. He asked me already, like, hey, when are we gonna feature you? And I'm like, okay, I'll do it, since he helped me out in the past. So the least I can do for him, right? So we're on the works of getting that dialed in. And yeah, I mean, I have so many ideas, guys. So many ideas that I've talked to, like, let's say my buddy Easy. When I commute to work, I'll call him, or Mata. I call them, and I'm like, yeah, man, like, this is what I want to work on. This is what I want to do, and they're very supportive. They're like, yeah, man, of course you can do it. It's just gonna take time, and so surrounding myself with those positive people, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Communication, relationships. None of these cars or material things matter at the end. We know that we enjoy them, and thanks to them, we've been able to meet a lot of cool people. But at the end of the day, they're material things, man. What really matters is friendships, and just experiences. Because one day we're not gonna be here. As I like to say, and if these are the things that remain, these videos, then I hope that people remember me in a positive way. Like, yeah, that dude was always positive, or he was trying to uplift others. So that's another thing that I've been working on this first 2 months of 2023, which is help others grow, whether it's with their YouTube channel, whether it's a clothing brand. Our good buddy Eric just started uh, a clothing brand. Sorry. What is it called? West Up Collective. I'm blanking out on the name, but I bought a shirt. It's a simple design. I like it. I like the idea. He's promoting West Coast. We're here in California, and it doesn't mean that if you live in Michigan or New York, you can't rap. It's just a set of community. That we want to continue to grow. So I'm like, sure. My buddy Easy started a detailing business. One of these days I'm gonna book him, and I'll drive to the Riverside area so he can wash my car, maybe polish it or whatever, and maybe make a video out of it, and get some more business going his way. Homie Mata is already growing his business again. I think he's kind of committed to going back to full time. So a lot of cool things happening your way. So thank you guys so much for the love and the support. We'll catch you guys on the next one. I definitely appreciate your time to watch and comment. Peace out.